Now that was a tricky day to trade, probably one of the trickiest days in the last few weeks. First of all, I'll show you guys this in a second on the screen. Our gap scanner had over 70 tickers on it, and that is rare. Usually we're looking between 10 and 20 tickers, and that's when you know it's going to be a clean, well, typically a clean trading day, because there's only going to be a few lead gappers that a lot of traders are looking at. But today it was ridiculous. I didn't know where to start, and the two lead gappers were more like lead bouncers. They were former runners that were just kind of bouncing off some lows. So I wasn't really excited about them, and everything on that list was just a bunch of dead cat bounces basically, because everything started pulling back today after the market opened. It was absolutely insane. The SPY, the S&P futures, were up. Where were they? I think they were like at 7 point something percent. Oh wait, no, fake news. The SPY was up over 9%. That's insane. You just don't see those numbers on a regular day. So I knew the markets were going to open super green, but I knew they're only opening green because yesterday was such a big red day. So after a really big red day like yesterday, I mean, even crypto was down like 30%. It was ridiculous. There's going to be some sort of serious bounce going on. And unfortunately, I would have liked to trade that bounce a little bit stronger, but we used up all our trades yesterday, which was okay because yesterday was actually a really nice green day. Today, unfortunately, was a small red day. We lost about $37 or something like that today. It's a little bit under $50 we lost today, which I'm almost kind of grateful for, because it could have been a really bad day overall, and we kind of avoided a lot of the sticky moves. There's also just about zero volume in the small cap space. All of our stocks that, we're typically looking for stocks below $50 million in dollar volume and below, so south of $10 million in float or shares outstanding. And all of the stocks in the small cap category we were looking at were having tiny dollar volume. So one of the ones we actually traded today, or we were trying to trade today, GLBS, this thing had $600,000 of dollar volume. I was like, what? This is ridiculous. I mean, it was one of the nicest moves, and I'll show you guys in a second why it was one of the nicest moves, but I didn't end up trading it because I was like, nobody's trading this. Like, there's no volume here. So it was a little stressful that, I don't know, it's just a really tough day. And yeah, we missed quite a few moves, but at the same time, I felt totally fine on the sidelines. And hey, if I totally sat on the sidelines the rest of the day, we would be, totally at zero today. So better than like $47 loss. But I mean, I think we avoided some pretty sketchy moves. And a day like today, it's kind of just fun to sit back. We checked out some stocks during the stream, see what you guys are investing in long term. It was kind of like a chill little talk day on the stream. So I mean, it was still good fun, just trading wise. I sketchy, and hopefully Monday we're going to have some smoothness back to the small cap world. Hopefully the markets are going to calm down a little bit, because the more calm the markets are, the more ripping the small cap world is, because the traders are looking for that momentum. And yeah, you can't really find that sometimes when everything else is moving and nobody knows what to trade, so people just don't trade at all, like me today, basically. All right, guys, it's basically a weekend already, so it's going to be a fairly quick recap. Just let's review some of the key lessons for today, some of the stocks we were looking at. Don't forget to leave this video a like if you are enjoying the content, and if you're totally new here, definitely consider subscribing and hitting that bell icon too. I'd love to see you in an upcoming video and stream. All right, guys, let's go to the charts and look at some of these lead bouncers. All right, so I kind of knew today was going to be a crazy day, and I know I was saying it over and over again in the stream pre-market. There's a good chance we're not going to do any trading. I just don't like the way everything's moving. And when I ran the scanner this morning, you can kind of see it here, except nothing's popping up anymore because this is the gap and go scanner. So it's only working pre-market. But you can still see, where was that actually? There was a little indicator, no matching symbol. So, okay, this is just updated, but there was, originally it said 71, and that is just way too many stocks on the gap and go scanner. Typically it'll show something like 15 to 20, and that's like a pretty aggressive day. Sometimes it even shows 7, 8, 9 stocks. And that's when you know it's going to be a good day, because there's only a few stocks that are running, maybe 1 or 2 lead gappers up on a big catalyst, and all the traders are looking at those small caps. And that's when you know you're going to get those big breakouts. But a day like today, when there's so much stuff on the scanner, which you don't see anymore, it's a little overwhelming. And also, it wasn't really a lead gap scanner anymore. What it really was a bounce scanner. I was just going through our watch list here, and this is kind of everything that was over here. So all I do is say save watch list, and then this I say to the date 3/13 it is today, and then I move all those stocks over here. And basically, they weren't really gappers. They were all things that pulled back tremendously yesterday when we had the record historic low. What was that, like 8-9% red day? And then in the morning in pre-market, they were all moving up higher just because that's naturally what happens. So it wasn't really any gappers or really any stocks really up on news. It was just stocks moving up because they were so sold off. So yeah, I knew it was going to be a really, really tough day, and it's probably going to be a slow open. So we had on our gapper, our lead gapper was CANF and IBIO. And both of them, I was like, well, you know, they might be our lead gappers, but they're, you know, both of them are a little bit overplayed. I don't know. Buying this one near some support, some of these pullbacks could have been kind of interesting, but you know, this thing never really ran that much. I don't even think I looked at IBIO during the stream like at all. Like maybe like 2 times or something like that, just because it was on our lead gapper list, but it wasn't that interesting. CANF, also not super interesting. They did have a catalyst out. It was a little bit closer to what I typically look for. But here on the daily, you can see, you know, big resistance at 167, big resistance at 1.9, and we're pulling back. We're already below VWAP. And at the same time, you know, this big resistance area, we were not able to hold our highs. We did gap up about 50%, but again, this was more of a bounce than a gap. So yeah, I don't know. I knew that our 2 lead gappers for the day weren't really that interesting, and I kind of said we're probably not going to trade them. It wasn't until that in the chat room it was chatted out that's wrong. It was OPK. This thing was gapping up 60%. They had news of New York City corona virus testing station. So let's quickly go over to OPK. Wow, where was it? OPK. I'll tell you right away what the problem was with OPK. And we actually, yes, we did trade this once after the stream ended. I had a limit order out. It got executed. Didn't work out, and I closed for a small loss. We'll talk about that trade in a second. But OPK, all day, I didn't really want to trade it. It was a slow mover, and I'll tell you why it was a slow mover. Check this out. 1.16, it was at like 1.2 earlier, $1 billion market cap. This is not a small cap, gap and go. What we're typically looking for are those companies south of $50 million and south of 10 million shares outstanding. This thing, shares outstanding, 670 million shares outstanding. That is not what we're looking for. Yeah, it was gapping up 63%, but instantly, you know, pulled back. And this big pullback here was only 11%. Typically, a pullback like this, that looks like this with the small caps we trade, this would be like a 30% pullback. This would be devastating. So this was just a slow mover because it had, you know, there was so much buying that needed to happen or selling that needed to happen, millions of dollars to move this thing even a little bit. That's why a lot of these big companies we don't trade, because you know, a 7% move isn't that big, because that would be, if you need a perfect entry and a perfect exit to get 7%, it's not really worth trading. We're trading stocks that are ripping 30, 40, 50%, and then you don't even need a perfect entry, and you can still, you know, take out 10%, 20% of that move very, very easily. Well, not easily, but it's much easier to not have to get a perfect entry, perfect exit, because it's very rare to get such a phenomenal move. So like, let's say you bought this breakout right here, and then you somehow sold at the perfect high right here. That's a 13% move. That's a tough one. I don't know. We missed it, and then, you know, a lot of chop down here. We had some fake out breakouts and then some pullbacks, and it was just not really nice. The one time I tried to trade OPK, also just look at the daily chart. I mean, this thing is all over the place. This is super choppy. It's not clean. What I was thinking is like, okay, maybe we'll try to get this near a pullback to some bigger support like we were doing yesterday, and you know, it kind of worked. So right here at 190, we originally had this pullback and a bounce. I missed this trade by like 1 or 2 cents. It was kind of annoying. My limit order was just a little bit lower, but then I moved my limit order again a little bit lower to this long-term multi-day support area, and we originally bounced off it like 3-4 times. But none of the bounces were really that strong, and then, you know, eventually we cracked, and when we consolidated under here and had a little pullback, I decided to get out. I didn't get out at the best spot. I actually got out kind of near the low of this candle, so it was kind of annoying, but we're basically getting close to my 5% max stop loss, and I was like, this thing is still selling off. I'm going to be out of here. I didn't really want this trade anyway. It's past my trading time. So whatever, small loss for today, which is totally fine. Small losses are okay. I'll take a small loss any day. Just, the key is to avoid those big losses. So that's why I ended up closing out this trade at 174. I tried to get out actually a few times in this red candle. It happened very, very fast. I moved out of my limit order several times. I was trying to even sell into the bid, but I just didn't get it. So there was a little bit of, I don't know, you could almost say slippage, but it wasn't a market order. It was just, I was a little bit slow maybe. So it's totally my fault. But yeah, OPK kind of got me pretty good today. Missed some of the bigger moves, didn't really want to trade it. And then the bounces, I always missed by a few cents. And then finally the one bounce I did get didn't bounce. Yeah, so one of those days definitely happens. But yeah, overall, only being down 5% on this position, and that's it. On a smaller position, I really reduced the allocation on this one. Is not a bad way to end today, which basically started off green, but then kind of pulled back because it just bounces everywhere and nothing was really that nice. Dollar volume, like I was saying before, is really, really low. So our biggest movers, all the small caps are kind of below 20 million, besides CODX at 60 million in dollar volume. Typically by the end of the day or by noon, you're seeing stocks over 100 million in dollar volume that only have a market cap of like 20, 30 million. So I can't even really count these two. So, in reality, nobody was trading small caps today. It was just super, super dry out there. It's going to be a crazy day when JDST gets halted, which is a gold ETF. It's not every day you see an ETF get halted. That's absolutely insane. This thing rips up from this low of $12 and then goes all the way here, 100% move. I can't even get over how ridiculous that is. I was not watching JDST. It got kind of chatted out in the stream chat. And, big bounce here for 12.5. So really, really cool move. There was no way I would have got this. I was not looking at it. But, maybe when it got unhalted, buying like this last little leg up or something like that could have been interesting. Or definitely buying this pullback. This is typically something I'm looking for. But who knows? I would have probably got aggressive here at 17. And all of a sudden, we would have been down 10%. I probably would have closed out for a loss. I don't know, just like a day like today, not trading the things that you want to be trading, not things that are part of your strategy, just really opens up a giant flank to really have a big loss or really get on the wrong side of a trade that you don't fully understand. And that was a little bit like OPK to me. Like, it was not exactly a move that I wanted to trade. And honestly, kind of reminded me of POAI. In POAI, we actually, this was our lead gapper from the day before. And this one we traded pretty well. It had on the 5-minute chart, and I guess you could say the 1-minute chart, in the first hour and a half of trading, the chart pattern was so similar. Oh wait, I spelled this one wrong. POAI. And here you go. So let me just quickly show you guys. Look how crazy similar this is. So we kind of open up after a big gap to the upside, 60, 70, 80%, kind of consolidate in this area, have a nice little leg up here, big move. And then the rest of the day, then we consolidate for like 30 minutes right here. We try to break higher. It's a failed breakout, pulls back, finds some support, small bounce, and kind of sells off the rest of the day. Now just kind of take a mental snapshot of this, and let's go back to OPK. Just check how wild this is. And this is how we're able to be consistently profitable, by just noticing these trends and then trading them. OPK though, I was on the wrong side of it today. Let me just scroll back over here. Yeah, so, gapping up, that classic 70%, and then here, pull back, consolidate, and then we rip up for this second move to the upside, kind of consolidate here, don't break out higher here, pull back to support. This bounce was much weaker though. Then just kind of consolidate and pull back. And who knows how much lower this is going to go. This might go all the way back to 1.4. I actually have a limited order out here for 1.4. Maybe we'll even get it. GLBS is actually another one we were trading today, or wanted to trade today. I was waiting for a bit bigger pullback to this big support area all day. We did not get it. I still actually have the limit order from this morning here near this support. Maybe we're going to get it. I don't know. I kind of want to close out all my limit orders because I'm basically done with trading for today. I'll probably leave them open for another hour. And after that, I'm going to close them out. But GLBS, sub dollar, I typically don't trade sub dollars. But what I like about this one, it was, your classic small float lead gapper setup. So, in the morning, a little bit of a move, but not too much, about 40%, which is really nice. It's not overextended yet. We have one big green day here. We have room to run to the upside because we pulled over the 69% and then we pulled back to it. So this trade right here would have been the one. 100% that would have been the trade. When we broke over the 61 area, about 30% and then pulled back about 20%. That would have been the trade. I was a little bit cautious on it because I don't like trading sub dollars. They even had, this is actually a Greek company, they had an extended maturity date on some of their debt. So, not like the greatest news, but, with a small float of I think their float was actually like 1.5 million. Shares outstanding is 4 million. Market cap is 3.1 million. And the dollar volume is actually kind of coming in here after, not really doing too much all day. This thing started off at like $600,000 in dollar volume. I didn't want to trade it. I mean, this thing had a lot of stuff speaking against it fundamentally, but technicals were perfect. And they made me really want to trade it, but I knew a day like today, I shouldn't be getting aggressive, especially on something like a sub-dollar stock with a tiny daily volume. It was just a tough day. That's why I was kind of sitting on the sidelines all day and sitting on my hands. I knew trading today is basically one way to make a lot of mistakes very quickly. BOXL, this one also got shouted out in the chat room, and I know a few traders were really looking at it. But this broke higher here, made a pennant pattern, which is one of my least favorite patterns to trade. It was also on the daily right here near some big time resistance, and it was not able to break out, and this pullback was really aggressive, 16%. So today it was a tough day to trade, and I think the best thing that we did today was not really trade. I mean, GLBS, yeah, we definitely missed a big opportunity on this one, but just like with BOXL, it's really easy to be on the wrong side of some of these, and especially with the spreads. I mean, look how big the spread is with these stocks. So it's just, you can't even see the bid and the ask in the same window. It's kind of ridiculous. So I don't know. I think we did all right today, and taking a small loss today is totally fine. And I almost feel like it's like a gift. It's like, whew, could have been worse. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe we'll get another little bit trade here, but overall, I'm basically done. I'm definitely done with the gap and go strategy. So, this is just looking at some support and resistance and maybe getting some bounces, but I don't really want to buy into like a weak bounce and then just hold it. So any of these trades that I get, I'll be closing out within a 5 to 10% bounce. That's it. I'm not holding overnight or anything like that. And you guys already know that. So I'm going to wrap up the stream there. It was good fun trading, or, just being on the stream today with you guys since we didn't trade on the stream. So yeah, that OPK trade was right after the stream ended, unfortunately. It would have been kind of fun to have it on the stream again. But yeah, have a great weekend, guys. I will see you then first thing on Monday. Stay safe, guys. Avoid the big crowds. Wash your hands. And yeah, make some awesome trades. Till next time, guys. Ciao, ciao.